Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. You know, the life of a gambler is very different than the life of the public. If you had a bet on the University of Oregon in the BCS Bowl, and if you took them at the Vegas line of +3, then the end of the BCS Bowl game that just happened was a roller coaster of emotions. Understand, if that Auburn running back was ruled in the end zone, you would have lost the bet, right? The margin would have been greater than 3. Auburn would have scored a touchdown, would have been up by 6. If they kicked the extra point, they would have been up by 7. So, literally, at the end of the game, after Oregon ties it on a 2-point conversion, it was literally the booth review overruling the on-field touchdown call that saved your money and gave you the push. And of course, if you were one of the lucky few at halftime to take Oregon and lay 1.5 points, then you actually won that bet on the strength of the 2-point conversion right before Auburn's last drive. It doesn't get thinner than that. The rest of the public saw an exciting game. You know, if you were a gambler, you were dealing in inches, in particular 6 inches. Also, it gets worse. After they ruled the guy down at the 6-inch line, they actually brought Cam Newton, the Heisman Trophy winner, back on the field. Understand, if Cam Newton had made it into the end zone on that next to last play, you would have lost the bet. Fortunately, fortunately, they just used that play to set up a field goal. That field goal got you the push, got you your money back. Wow. I can't recall a seesaw game like that in some time. Anyway, let's talk about the NFL real quick. This is Dwyer from predictfootball.blogspot.com. Let me just say, there's a great play out there. It's in the AFC. All 3 teams that I have named as serious contenders are actually still in it in the AFC, right? The 2 top seeds who didn't play last weekend, and the Baltimore Ravens who did beat. In fact, they crushed the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Now, my point to you is, I know conventional wisdom is that futures are terrible things. You know what? They're great things if you're able to sense matchups and make straddles. Here, you have a great straddle. Understand there are 2 games. The Patriots against the Jets, right? The winner of that game advances to the AFC Conference Championship, and the Steelers against the Ravens. Now, understand, and the winner of that game advances. Understand, you can get 5-1 right now on the Ravens to win the conference, not the Super Bowl, just the AFC. And you can get 3-1 right now on the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the AFC. That's a great opportunity for strategic bettors. Understand, I don't know who wins the AFC. It could well be New England. But here you have an opportunity to put whatever you want, given the legality of gambling in your jurisdiction, as well as your risk tolerance. But let's say you were to put $5, hypothetically speaking, of course, on the Ravens at 5-1. And if you were to put $5, hypothetically speaking, of course, on the Pittsburgh Steelers at 3-1, understand the winner of that game is definitely in the AFC Championship game, right? Definitely. And if it's the Ravens, and if they're able to win that AFC Championship game, you're literally getting 4-1 odds on that experience. In other words, if the Ravens beat the Steelers, you would win 25 minus the 5 you put on the Steelers. You would actually net 20 if they're able to beat the New England Patriots in the next round, right? In fact, understand, in the next round, you would literally be able to bet $10 on the Patriots side if you wanted to further hedge the play. If the Steelers beat the Ravens, then you actually get a 2-1 return, right? You would win 15, 5 times 3, minus the 5 you bet on the Ravens, so you would net $10. So you would, in essence, have the Steelers against the Patriots or the Jets, depending on who wins in that AFC Championship game. Pretty good odds on a division winner. In fact, a team that has a lot of playoff experience. So my recommendation, it's something to think about. I think it's a good play for gamblers, is to put, if it's legal where you are, if you're in Vegas, put money on both the Steelers and the Ravens, because somebody has to win that game, and you're going to get leverage. You're either going to get, even considering the discounting, right? You know, the subtracting for the other team, you're going to get 2-1 on the Steelers, right? That's 3-1 minus the one you put on the Ravens. You're going to get 2-1 odds on the Steelers to win the AFC, and you're going to get 4-1 odds on the Ravens. And understand, if the Jets upset the Patriots, right? I don't see it happening, but it's possible. If the Jets were to upset the Patriots, understand that you would actually have the home field advantage in that AFC Championship game while you're getting leverage. Food for thought. Let me know what you think. Visit us at predictfootball.blogspot.com and leave your comments for me here on YouTube, of course. Thanks.